Hey, we're back. And today we're going to talk about a little topic that we got an email on, and that is, should I turn the water main off when I go on vacation? Should I turn the water main off if I'm going to go away for the weekend? What should you do? Leave it on? Turn it off? We're going to talk about it. But first, go right down there somewhere and click on that subscribe button. Dingle on the bell. That way you get notified next time we do something. And of course, leave us a comment and let us know what you think. If you've got any questions, comments, you need to correct us about something, we're always here, ready to learn along with everybody out there. So, Rich, if you're going on vacation, just tell me, do you turn your water main off before you go?
No,
Never?
never.
Never?
I've never turned off my water before I went on vacation.
Wow. See, and I did it. I started about 15 years ago after I had a series of clients that had problems. And I went, you know what? It's just going like that. And I saved so much hassle, you know?
Potential hassle.
Correct.
I just have never had a problem with my plumbing like that. So if you're in a house for any length of time and you've not had an issue with your water system, then it seems weird to me that all of a sudden you would.
So here, I'll give you one example. Was the washing machine hose burst, second floor, and just flooded. They were gone for a week. Flooded the entire first floor, flooded the basement out, sump pumps going off, ejecting all this water out while they've been out of town. Destroyed all the ceilings and the floors on the first floor, and then the basement had to be gutted out too.
Don't use stainless steel braided hoses anymore?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was just the rubber hose ones. It wasn't even.
I know that's the thing, but we don't use those anymore for that reason.
So that was one of them, and another one
Right.
was a toilet was overflowing. They must have like flushed something and it overflowed and just kept running, and it was just running and running and running, and it flooded out the first floor, and then did the same thing and ruined the basement. So, I was like, I had a couple of those in a row, and I'm thinking, you know what? It's not that hard to just turn the valve off. You just don't know if a hose breaks underneath the sink or the toilet or the laundry room.
Well, I mean,
So,
so okay, yeah. So I mean, I get the first couple of points, right? It prevents water damage,
right,
right? So you turn off the water. Just if you have a burst pipe or malfunctioning appliance, it's going to stop that.
right.
So you're just stopping the flood avoidance.
Yes. There you go. There you go. So that's why I do it. And I don't know. I don't know. We can go, well, let's go through the list here real quick because we've
And I
got
did number one. We're going to two.
that's prevention of water damage. So
Yes.
that's our personal stories on the advantages of doing this.
Yeah, and I get the conserving water.
Yeah.
So if you have toilets that tend to run, right? Unless you jiggle the handle.
Yeah.
And I never jiggle other people's handles because I
Yeah.
never know if I'm going to jiggle it properly or cause a bigger issue.
Right.
I have been known to take the lids off though, just to see if the chain's there or the flapper's out of adjustment, but
Yes. I have done that also.
that kind of annoys me. So water conservation, if you have some issues with things running,
Yeah.
that could be an issue. So, but I mean, like you got a picture there behind you, right? Is that the ceiling that's
Yeah.
leaking?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This one here. Yeah. There you go. You can see let me see if I can do this. Yep. Right there. See that water coming out?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the worst it could be right there.
Yeah. The ceiling blows down. The look at it right in there.
That's a cafeteria in a hotel or something.
Yeah. But the floors are all flooded out. So imagine that being in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, so we're conserving water. So then it also can give you peace of mind.
I think that's a big advantage. That's why I do it. I can close the door, walk away, and I don't need to worry about it. I know I'm not going to come home to that a flood.
So you got peace of mind. And then the other one that came up was lowering your risk of mold.
That's an interesting one. Yes.
That's what I thought, because you got to have humidity and temperature to get mold to grow. Mold's
Right.
everything, always is. But yeah, if things are damp, yeah, you get more mold. So that might be a small leak.
Right.
But again, I don't know those. We'll talk about the automatic shut-off valves, but I'm not sure how they monitor that so well that if you had a very small leak, a pinhole, that it would notice that. So we'll figure that out.
Yep.
Okay, so the disadvantages of turning off the water before you go on vacation.
Correct. I don't see any personally, but you still came up with a list of them. So we're going to cover that
Well,
advantage.
the inconvenience, like you come home, first thing you want to do is take a hot shower. Well, you may have to drain some water. You may, I mean,
Right.
the water heater might still be on,
Right.
which that's actually always been a worry of mine. If your water heater is on and the water is turned off and the pressure release valve opens, do you have a higher risk of the water heater blowing up because you don't have any fresh cold water or movement? Or is that just the job of the pressure relief valve?
Yeah. It's just going to relieve that pressure, you know. And I guess that's another advantage too. Is what happens when the water heater breaks at the bottom and blows out and you're out of town.
Then it only gets the basement wet
Yeah.
or your garage.
Exactly. So,
So yeah, no, turning off the water main. I mean, you need to turn it back on when you turn. You might have to wait for the system repressurize, right? Make sure everything's working properly. I think the other thing though is once you relieve pressure on gaskets and washers, rubber washers and that, I don't know if that allows them time to shrink. So then when you turn the water back on, is that going to cause another issue?
right. So that's why I don't drain it. I used to drain them out, but then when I was coming back, I'd always have, sometimes I'd have a faucet that needed something done to it. So I just leave the water. I leave it pressurized and leave the water in the pipes. So if it does something happens, it's just going to leak whatever's in the pipe, and you're done.
So then I have to switch the next 2 points. So then that leads me to the uncertainty about residual water use.
Okay.
So in your pipes, then, if you shut the water off and you have basically it's stagnant water. Now,
Right.
if you're gone for the weekend, don't think I'd really get too worried about it. But if you're out of town for say 3 weeks,
Yep.
the plumbing code doesn't allow you to have a piece of dead end pipe more than 24 inches long.
Right.
There's a reason for that because that water never gets changed and it can grow bacteria and so on. So if you have a turned off water system full of water, it can actually grow bacteria. You come home, turn the water on, it starts making ice.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, so this is what I get it. So you got to remember to throw that away. You don't want to drink the first couple, 3 batches, right? You want to bleed that water out. So you go to the furthest fixture from your water main and
Right.
turn it on and let it run for 10 minutes, whatever.
Right.
So that goes back to saving water. Whatever you thought you saved, you just put down the drain because you just drained the system out of the
Correct.
stagnant water. All right. So let's talk about the potential. The other disadvantage is the potential for pipes to freeze in cold climates. Yeah, again, I only had one pipe freeze, and that was because it was on the wrong side of the insulation. A lot of times people have water pipes freeze in their kitchen under the sink base.
Right.
It's usually because it comes up from the crawl space with an uninsulated rim joist. I mean, where
Yep.
you can use the cabinet under the sink to be a refrigerator.
Right. Exactly. So is that really a disadvantage that your pipes are going to freeze? Or is it a good thing that your pipes froze and you had the water main off?
So then this goes back to that one of the ways you prevent your pipes from freezing in the winter, especially with the cold snap that you're going through up there. But we tell people to leave the water running a little, not running, but
Drip. So it's constantly moving. That helps prevent it from freezing.
right. So again, turning off your water this time of year, you come down to FLA for the once in a lifetime snowstorm or to watch iguanas fall out of the trees because you're sure as hell not going swimming. It's too cold.
Right.
But yeah, if you left your water running up there, that's fine. If you turned it off, you increased your chance for freezing, possibly.
Correct.
Older home, uninsulated or incorrectly.
Exactly. So,
But I mean, one of the disadvantages is lost convenience for emergencies.
well,
Inability to handle emergencies. If a minor plumbing issue or situation arises, like a leaking faucet, you'll be unable to handle it without water until you have the supply back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. I usually don't have the water on when I'm fixing a leaky faucet.
Now, if you're out in California and there's a fire and you want to use the outside hose bib because the neighbors try to hook on and get water out of your house, they're not going to because you've got your water off. That
All
maybe
right, so
that's the emergency thing, I guess, maybe.
so we just did 3 shows on the LA fires, and
Right?
oddly enough, another bad one started today, so we're not going to make light of any of that. But you bring up a good point. A lot of people in Palisades were told to evacuate. One of the things I found interesting was that the fire departments were struggling with low water pressure, and there were a number of reasons.
Sure.
One of the reasons specifically was that when the houses burned down, collapsed, the water pipes obviously broke, and they were spraying water now.
Right.
Nobody that left turned off their water main. So now when they issue mandatory evacuations for fire, if you're leaving, they should tell you to turn your main off outside at the
Right.
house. I would assume California is like here. Mine's on the front of my garage outside.
Yeah, no, mine's not.
No, yours is 4 feet down in a bee box or inside your house. Yeah, no,
Oh,
mine's right in the front yard.
oh. Okay, so now let's say you want to automate this system.
How would I do it?
You could have it automatically turn off. You have the opportunity to come home to a clean ceiling or maybe something like this.
No, that's fine. It looks like better than the rain head.
Now, if you had a sprinkler system, that's fine, but you don't. Or your house might look like this when you walk in the living room and you see that going on. So there's ways to prevent this. This is what you're looking for in the basement. This is one option. And this is a ball valve is here. It has just that one handle. It turns 90 degrees. You also have a gate valve that you turn 100 times to get it to shut off, and then you hope it does.
And seriously, gate valves are really prone to corrosion and buildup that where you really can't turn them off completely. So that would be one of my first suggestions for your water service if you're going to put in one of these controllers is to have that gate valve removed and make sure you move to a ball valve.
Yes.
So much more reliable.
So here's what you were talking about. Yours are just like that, right on the surface.
Yeah, my water meter is like that. And then you see the gray box, which is the remote reader that the city drives down the street and then gets your water usage.
And then there's just a different look at it.
Yeah, that one just now got to be read manually. But it is funny, you being up there and me being down here, is the fact that they're literally only a few inches below the dirt.
Yeah. That would
They'd be frozen solid right now.
Yes. Yes. So here's the first system. And here's why you want to put a ball valve on there, and then you can put one of these eco nets on, and this hooks up to your phone and you can automatically turn it off.
That one's interesting because it literally just closes your existing valve.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can do this. If you've got this on there, you don't need to call the plumber to install it.
It's a pipe clamp. It's simple.
Right. So, and then it works off Wi-Fi and you can turn it on and off on your own. You don't need to go looking for it. Or you have the housekeepers are coming by or somebody's going to use your house for a day or two. You can then get on your phone, turn it on, and then when they leave, you turn it back off.
Right.
So this is the Moen flow system, and you can see that's all powered. Now that you need the plumber to put in and get that installed. And then it plugs in to the monitor for the Wi-Fi and everything else. This one is going to be a leak detection system. The previous one we were showing is just an on-off, so you can turn it on and off remotely.
Which is fine, but again, now the leak detection system, and this will cover this one and any of the ones that are coming up. But so I'm up in north and it's winter and I want to go out, but I'm worried about my pipes freezing. If I turn a faucet on a slow drip or something, is one of these going to, the Flow by Moen or this one here, the Fin? Those are leak detectors. Are they going to automatically shut off because my system doesn't get back to its required pressure?
Correct. Correct. That's how they're going to do it. And this is the last one here, which is it's leak detector.
This is
Um,
the one you say you install.
yeah, we do a lot of these because Chubb Insurance requires these on their homes. If you want to insure your home, they require you to put these on their homes now. We've done a bunch of these for clients. So if you have Chubb Insurance, they're gonna require you to have this on if you want to use them to insure your house. So the way this system works is it's got a countdown clock, and it'll show up right in here on the screen. And that's a remote screen that you just put anywhere in the house, and it's hardwired to the valve. And what that does is it counts down. So it's set at 60, and it gives you 60 minutes. So if you turn on the water, it starts counting down. And then if it gets to 0, it automatically shuts it off. So because most people don't take a shower for that long, your toilet doesn't run that long. So there's most of your
60
stuff.
minutes then sounds like a ridiculous number because literally if I have a 3/4 inch pipe open for an hour, that's a lot of water damage.
It's still a lot of water. You're correct. But what you can do though is you can watch them, and as things are turning on and off, it might be down to 75 or it's 80, something like that. Or I'm sorry, 50 to 45 minutes left. And then you turn everything off and it starts slowly counting back up. It resets to 60. And then you flush the toilet and it starts counting down again. So this time of year, the problem with these things is now the humidifiers are running that are on this and they're running the water, and those things are running constantly because the blowers are on full time and they're trying to put humidity back in the air, and those will trip these. So you have to walk around and see what the humidifiers are doing. And if the humidifiers are on, then they'll trip the system out. So
Which means your house isn't air sealed well enough because all your humidity is going outside where there is none.
correct.
That's a whole nother show.
Then the other thing is if you did have a small leak, which we had a client, they happened to be in town, but we were trying to figure out where the water was coming from or why it kept turning off, but we couldn't see anything. So then we bypassed it, put on bypass and just let it run. And eventually in the basement, we started getting a little drip. And then we went upstairs, had to cut a hole in the wall when we found there was a copper fitting that had sprung a small leak, and it was just spraying. Not enough to damage the drywall, not enough to leak out on the floor because it was just dripping back down, and it was just staying in that stud space. But eventually it got enough to where it actually dripped down into the basement, and we were able to locate it. So and it doesn't take a lot. Another one was where it had a pinhole, and you could see it wasn't spraying anywhere, but it was just dripping, and it was just a slow drip, and the timer would never reset to 60. And so we ended up walking around and we found that one too. So it doesn't take much to set these things off. And this time of year, they become real annoying because your humidifiers are running. So, but it's a great system. And like I said, this is the one we do, and we do a lot of these. But you can also go on your phone and just turn it on and off. So now when you leave, you don't need to worry about it.
And I know, and so one of the next things to cover, like the home automation integration. Now, I can't speak for this one, whether it works with Alexa or Google or whomever.
Right.
But I know we did a lot of Control4 systems and Control. It was always one of the nice things about Control4. If they didn't have it, like I could go out and buy what we call water bugs, and I could put the water bug under the kitchen sink. I could put one into the pan underneath the air handler in the attic and all that. And all they did is monitor for moisture. If they got wet, they'd go right back to a group to software that was written by Control4 to work with that particular product. And it would send you a text telling you that there's water being sensed there. And it was actually before we started getting all these controllers that would shut your valves off. But now they have the valve and the water bug. So the water bug gets wet, it automatically shuts off.
Right.
The main valve. So not all bad.
No. So I guess so. Let's go back to the very beginning. Should we turn our water off when we go on vacation or you go out of town for the weekend?
I don't know.
All right, okay, let me ask you this. Are you going to turn your water off when you go out of town next time?
I may turn it off. I don't know.
So you were talking also about having a pool filler.
Well,
And
yeah. So down here in Southwest Florida, we have what's called an auto pool fill, and basically, it's not used this time of year. It's actually used mostly in summer, which is also partially our rainy season. And in all honesty, I haven't had to add much water. But when you get a strip or a period of time, like say 2 weeks of nothing but 100-degree weather, obviously in full sunshine, the pool's going to evaporate a lot of water.
sure.
We can go out there with the hose and add water to it all the time. But basically, what you have is a half-inch line feeding a bucket that has a float in it, just like your toilet. And when the float drops, the water comes in, it fills the pool until the float comes up and shuts that off.
Okay. So if you're in the Southwest somewhere, you may have one of those. And
Oh,
you,
absolutely.
and you may not want to turn your water off to the pool.
Well,
So the other thing is we walk in, we're doing a bathroom or a kitchen. We walk through a pre-construction walkthrough and we ask the homeowners, do you know where your water shutoff is? And 95% of the time, people say no, they don't know where it's at. So I would say go look for it, find out where it's at. If you don't know, the next time you got a plumber out there or you're getting something done, a handyman at the house, ask them, where do I turn my water off to the house?
yeah.
Even if you're home and a pipe breaks or something, where are you going to go turn it off? That's something you should know. Every homeowner should know where to go turn their water off.
Well, gas main, water main,
Electric
like stuff
Yep.
you should know.
stuff you should know. There you go, right there. That's it. All right. Think we're good?
I think so.
All right. So I'm going to keep turning mine off when I go out of
And
town.
I'll take it under advisement.
There you go. All right. So I'll say keep it square and level
Till next time.
until next time. There you go.
You gonna turn yours off? Asking the people. Leave us a comment.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Do that too.